My ex signed me up for a dating site using my wedding photos. The notification sound from my phone made my stomach drop. Another message on the dating app I'd never signed up for. Asterisk K gorgeous, love the wedding dress pics. Your husband know you're on here? Face blowing a kiss asterisk. I stared at the screen, my coffee growing cold as rage built in my chest. This was the 43rd message since yesterday. 43 strangers who thought I was some cheating wife looking for a side piece, all because Marcus, my lying, cheating ex-husband, had decided that destroying my marriage wasn't enough. Now he wanted to destroy any chance I had of moving on. I opened the fake profile again, even though seeing it made me physically ill. There was my face, beaming with joy in my $2,400 Maggie Sotero dress, Marcus cropped out but his hand still visible on my waist. The bio made my skin crawl. Asterisk Sarah, 28. Happily married but looking for some excitement. Hubby doesn't need to know winking face love romantic dinners and long walks. Let's see where this goes, asterisk. The bastard had even used my real phone number. My hands shook as I scrolled through the messages. Most were disgusting propositions from men who thought I was fair game. A few were angry lectures about marriage and morality. One guy had sent a novel-length message about how his wife had cheated and how seeing my profile brought back all his trauma. I wanted to respond to every single one, to explain that this wasn't me, that I wasn't the person they thought I was. Instead, I called the customer service number for Love Connection for the 5th time in 2 days. Thank you for calling Love Connection, this is Jake, how can I need to report a fake profile, I interrupted, pacing my tiny apartment kitchen. Someone created an account using my photos without permission. I can definitely help you with that. Can you provide the username? Sarah Teacher 2024. I've been calling about this since Monday. A pause. Oh yes, I see the notes here. Unfortunately, since you're not the account holder, we can't remove the profile without additional verification. You'd need to provide. I've already sent you my driver's license, my divorce decree, everything you asked for. My voice cracked. Do you have any idea what this is doing to my life? I'm getting dozens of messages from men who think I'm married and cheating. I understand your frustration, ma'am. The profile verification team is reviewing your case, but it can take 5 to 7 business days. I hung up. 5 to 7 business days. Meanwhile, my reputation was being shredded in real time. I'd already had to explain to my principal, Mrs. Chen, why parents were talking about seeing their children's teacher on a dating site. The humiliation had been unbearable, especially when I'd seen the doubt in her eyes, like maybe there was some truth to it. Marcus knew exactly what he was doing. He'd always been calculated, manipulative. During our divorce 6 months ago, he tried to claim I was having an affair, projection, obviously, since I'd caught him with his coworker Rebecca 3 times. When that didn't work, he'd fought me on every asset, every piece of furniture, dragging out the process until I was emotionally and financially drained. I thought it was over when the papers were signed. I thought I was free. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Asterisk your husband's a lucky man. When can we meet? Asterisk. Something inside me snapped. Marcus wanted to play games? Fine. He'd forgotten that I knew all his secrets, all his weaknesses. It was time to remind him. I drove to my sister Emma's apartment that evening, my laptop bag clutched tight against my chest. She took one look at my face and poured 2 glasses of wine without saying a word. He's escalating, I said, showing her the messages that had accumulated throughout the day. 57 now. Look at this one, this guy says he's going to show up at Roosevelt Elementary tomorrow because he knows where I work. Emma, I could lose my job over this. She scrolled through the messages, her jaw tightening with each swipe. Jesus, Sarah. Have you thought about getting a restraining order? With what proof? Marcus was smart enough not to leave digital fingerprints. The profile was created with a VPN, fake email address, the works. My lawyer says it's technically harassment, but proving he did it. I took a long sip of wine. It would cost me another $5,000 I don't have, and Marcus knows it. That was the real kicker. The divorce had cleaned me out, legal fees, splitting assets, moving costs. I was living paycheck to paycheck in a studio apartment while Marcus kept our house and his comfortable software engineer salary. He could afford to drag this out in court forever. I couldn't afford to fight back. At least, not legally. There has to be something we can do, Emma said. What about going to the police? I pulled up another app on my phone, Instagram. Marcus's profile filled the screen, and Emma's eyes widened. Holy shit, when did he become such a narcissist? Marcus had always been active on social media, but since our divorce, he'd gone completely off the deep end. Shirtless gym selfies every morning at 6:47 a.m. Expensive restaurant check-ins 3 times a week. Weekend hiking photos with Rebecca, captioned with cringe-worthy quotes about new beginnings and toxic free living. He posts his entire life, I said, scrolling through months of content. Look, every Tuesday he goes to CrossFit Northside at 7 p.m. Thursdays he has drinks with his coworkers at Murphy's Bar. Saturday mornings he plays pickup basketball at Riverside Park. He's basically providing a daily itinerary of his schedule. Okay, so he's predictable. How does that help us? I opened my laptop and created a new email address, hottiehotti2024@gmail.com. Not subtle, but Marcus had never been attracted to subtle women. Remember Jessica Chen from high school? Blonde, cheerleader, made every guy stupid just by existing? Emma's eyes lit up. You're going to catfish him. I'm going to destroy him. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I searched through Facebook, finding photos of Jessica from her modeling portfolio she'd posted 2 years ago. She lived in Portland now, married with twin babies. Marcus would never make the connection. He thinks he can humiliate me, make me look like some desperate cheating wife? Fine. Let's see how he likes being exposed. Sarah. Emma's voice carried a warning. This could backfire. What if he finds out it's you? I was already creating the profile on Love Connection, using Jessica's photos and a carefully crafted bio designed to be Marcus's exact type. Fit, adventurous, loved hiking and craft beer. I made her a marketing consultant, impressive enough to stroke his ego, vague enough to avoid too many detailed questions. Then I guess we'll be even. I clicked create profile and felt a surge of dark satisfaction. But Marcus always was too arrogant to see past a pretty face. Besides, I have 6 months of marriage to an unfaithful narcissist under my belt. I know exactly which buttons to push. The profile went live at 9:23 p.m. By 9:31 p.m., I had my first match. Marcus had taken the bait. The first message from Marcus came at 9:47 p.m., exactly 16 minutes after we matched. I was still at Emma's kitchen table, my laptop open, wine glass trembling slightly in my hand as I read his opening line. K beautiful. Love your hiking pics. I'm actually heading to Mount Washington this weekend if you want to join. Fair warning though, I might leave you in the dust winking face asterisk. God, he's even more arrogant than I remembered, I muttered, showing Emma the screen. The same cocky tone he'd used when we first met at that coffee shop 3 years ago. Back then, I'd found his confidence charming. Now it made my skin crawl. I crafted Jessica's response carefully, playing into his ego while seeming impressed but not desperate. Wow, Mount Washington sounds amazing. I've been dying to tackle a challenging trail. Think you can keep up with a former college track star? Face blowing a kiss asterisk. His reply came back in under 2 minutes. A runner, huh? Even better. What other secrets are you hiding, Jessica? Emma peered over my shoulder as I typed back, building the foundation of my trap. You're really good at this, she said. It's kind of terrifying. I had an excellent teacher in manipulation, I replied, fingers flying across the keyboard. Marcus wrote the playbook. For the next hour, I carefully constructed Jessica's personality, flirty but not easy, successful but impressed by his job, adventurous but available for his schedule. I peppered in details from his Instagram posts, making it seem like incredible coincidences. When he mentioned loving craft beer, Jessica had just discovered this amazing brewery downtown. When he bragged about his CrossFit routine, she mentioned she'd been looking for a new gym. At 11:15 p.m., he asked for her number. I'd been ready for this. Earlier that afternoon, I'd driven to the strip mall on 5th Street and bought a prepaid phone with cash. No digital trail, no connection to my real identity. I gave Marcus the number, and within minutes, he was texting Jessica directly. This might sound crazy, but want to meet for coffee tomorrow? I know this great place downtown, Grind Coffee on Market Street, My heart hammered against my ribs. Grind Coffee. The same place where he'd taken me on our first date, where he'd later taken Rebecca while we were still married. I'd seen the photos on her Facebook, the same corner table, the same stupid latte art heart he probably thought was romantic. I'd love to. What time works for you? How about 2 p.m.? I'll be the devastatingly handsome guy in the blue button-down smiling face with sunglasses I stared at the message, reality crashing over me like ice water. He actually wanted to meet. In person. Tomorrow. My elaborate catfish scheme suddenly felt very real and very dangerous. You can't actually go, Emma said, reading my expression. Sarah, you can't show up as Jessica. He'll recognize you immediately. I know that. I set the phone down with shaking hands. But I need to see this. I need to watch him sit there, waiting for a woman who doesn't exist, getting stood up like he stood me up all those nights when he was with Rebecca. So Jessica just doesn't show? I picked up my wine glass, mind racing through possibilities. No. Jessica shows up, but she leaves before he sees her. She texts him some excuse, family emergency, got called into work, something believable. But first, she watches. She sees how he acts when he thinks he's about to meet his next victim. My phone buzzed with another text from Marcus, can't wait to meet you tomorrow. Something tells me you're going to be trouble smiling face with horns The irony wasn't lost on me. For once in his life, Marcus was absolutely right. But I was going to be the kind of trouble he'd never seen coming. The next morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 2 years. Mrs. Chen's concerned voice through the phone made guilt twist in my stomach, but I couldn't focus on lesson plans when my entire future felt balanced on the edge of a knife. I spent 3 hours getting ready, transforming myself into someone Marcus wouldn't recognize from a distance. I dug out the auburn wig I'd worn for Halloween 2 years ago, paired it with oversized sunglasses and a black pea coat I'd borrowed from Emma. Looking in the mirror, I barely recognized myself, which was exactly the point. At 1:30 p.m., I parked 2 blocks away from Grind Coffee and walked slowly toward the familiar storefront. My hands were sweating inside my gloves despite the October chill. The prepaid phone had been buzzing all morning with increasingly eager messages from Marcus. Looking forward to seeing you in 30 minutes. Just grabbed a shower. Hope you're ready for the most charming afternoon of your life, face blowing a kiss heading out now. I'll grab us a table by the window That last message had arrived 10 minutes ago. He was already inside, probably sitting at our old table, checking his reflection in his phone camera and adjusting his hair. Some habits never changed. I positioned myself across the street at the bus stop, pretending to check the schedule while keeping my eyes locked on the coffee shop's large front windows. There he was, blue button-down shirt as promised, sitting at the exact same corner table where he'd told me he loved me 18 months ago. My chest tightened at the sight of him, muscle memory kicking in despite everything. 3 years of marriage didn't just disappear, even when those 3 years had ended in betrayal and heartbreak. Marcus kept checking his Apple Watch, the one I'd bought him for our second anniversary. At 2:07 p.m., he got up to order another coffee. At 2:15, he started texting. The prepaid phone buzzed, K beautiful, I'm here. Where are you, I typed back with trembling fingers, running about 10 minutes late. Traffic is terrible. Order me a vanilla latte? Red heart no problem. I'll be the patient guy at the corner table Patient was not a word I'd ever associated with Marcus, but apparently Jessica brought out his better angels. I watched him wave to the barista, pointing at his table with an easy confidence that made my stomach churn. He was actually excited about this date. Genuinely looking forward to charming another woman the same way he charmed me, probably using the same stories, the same jokes, the same carefully rehearsed personality that had fooled me completely. At 2:23, a blonde woman in her 30s walked into the coffee shop, and Marcus's head snapped up hopefully. When she walked past his table to join a friend, his shoulders sagged with disappointment. He checked his watch again, then his phone. Asterisk, everything okay? It's been 25 minutes, asterisk. I could see the irritation creeping into his posture, the way his jaw tightened, how he drummed his fingers against the table. The same tells he'd had whenever I was late coming home from work, back when he was already planning to leave me for Rebecca but still wanted to maintain the illusion of being a devoted husband. At 2:31, I sent the message that would start phase 2 of my plan. Asterisk, I'm so sorry, Marcus, but I'm in the ER with my sister. Family emergency. Rain check, asterisk. Even from across the street, I could see his face fall. He typed for a long time, deleting and retyping several times before sending. Asterisk, oh no. Is she okay? Don't worry about today, family comes first. Text me when you can, asterisk. The response was perfect, concerned, understanding, supportive. Everything he'd never been during our marriage when I dealt with my father's cancer treatments or my mother's depression. But for Jessica, a stranger he'd known for less than 24 hours, he could summon infinite patience and compassion. I watched him sit there for another 10 minutes, probably crafting the perfect follow-up message, before finally gathering his jacket and leaving. As he walked past my bus stop, I turned away, heart hammering. He had no idea that his perfect woman was about to become his perfect nightmare. The next 3 days were a masterclass in psychological manipulation, mine and his. Marcus had become obsessed with Jessica's family emergency, sending concerned texts every few hours that ranged from genuinely sweet to borderline controlling. Asterisk, hope your sister is doing better. Let me know if you need anything, asterisk then, 2 hours later, asterisk thinking about you. This sounds really serious, which hospital are you at, asterisk. I fed him just enough details to keep him hooked. Jessica's sister had appendicitis. The surgery went well. Recovery would take a few more days. Each update was carefully crafted to build emotional intimacy while maintaining distance, a trick I'd learned from Marcus himself during those final months of our marriage when he was emotionally unavailable but still wanted me to believe he cared. By Thursday evening, he was practically begging to see her. Asterisk, I know this might be too much, but I keep thinking about you. Would it be weird if I brought flowers to the hospital? I just want to help somehow, asterisk. I stared at the message, sitting in my empty apartment with takeout containers scattered across my coffee table. Marcus wanted to bring flowers to a fictional woman's fictional sister. The same Marcus who had forgotten my birthday 2 years running and brought me grocery store roses exactly once during our entire marriage, after I'd caught him texting Rebecca the first time. Emma knocked on my door at 8:30 p.m., letting herself in with the spare key I'd given her years ago. You look like hell, she said, taking in my unwashed hair and the same pajamas I'd been wearing for 2 days. Thanks. Really needed that confidence boost. I showed her Marcus's latest message. He's getting attached. Like, genuinely attached. Look at this, he sent Jessica a Spotify playlist called Songs That Remind Me of You, and they've never even met. Emma scrolled through the conversation history, her eyebrows climbing higher with each exchange. Holy shit, Sarah. He's completely fallen for her. This is. She paused, searching for words. This is kind of heartbreaking. Heartbreaking? I snatched the phone back. He's doing exactly what he did to me, love bombing a woman he barely knows while his actual girlfriend, Rebecca, probably has no idea he's on dating apps. That's not what I meant. Emma sat down beside me on my thrift store couch. I mean, it's heartbreaking that he's capable of this much emotional investment for a stranger when he couldn't manage basic human decency for his wife. The truth in her words hit like a physical blow. In 4 days, Marcus had shown Jessica more genuine concern and romantic interest than he'd shown me in the last year of our marriage. The playlist alone had 37 songs, each one carefully chosen with little notes about why it reminded him of her. This one makes me think of your laugh, even though I haven't heard it yet, but I bet it's beautiful. My phone, my real phone, buzzed with yet another message to my fake dating profile. 63 messages now from men who thought I was a cheating wife. The customer service team at Love Connection had finally responded to my complaint. Asterisk, we've reviewed your case and determined the profile doesn't violate our community guidelines. The photos appear to be authentic and the account holder has provided valid verification. Asterisk. Valid verification. Marcus had somehow convinced them he was me. I need to escalate this, I told Emma, pulling up Jessica's dating profile. It's not enough to just break his heart. He needs to face real consequences. I started typing a message that would move Jessica's fake family crisis into phase 3, recovery and revenge. Asterisk, good news. Sister is doing much better. Doctors say she can go home tomorrow. I've been thinking about you constantly through all this, you've been so sweet and supportive. I want to do something special to thank you. Are you free Saturday night? I was thinking dinner at the Riverside Room, asterisk. The Riverside Room. Marcus's favorite restaurant, where he'd taken Rebecca for their 6-month anniversary while he was still married to me. I'd seen the photos on her Instagram, him looking happier than he'd ever looked with me. His response came back in 90 seconds, asterisk yes. I mean, yes, I'd love that. I'm so glad your sister is okay. Saturday can't come fast enough, asterisk. I smiled for the first time in days, but it felt sharp and cold. Saturday wouldn't come fast enough for me either. Because Saturday night, Jessica was finally going to show Marcus exactly who she really was. Saturday morning, I woke up with a plan that felt both brilliant and terrifying. The Riverside Room reservation was confirmed for 7 p.m. under Jessica's name. I'd used the prepaid credit card I'd bought specifically for this operation. Marcus had been texting nonstop since Thursday, his excitement building to an almost manic level. Asterisk, can't concentrate on anything today. Keep thinking about finally meeting you tonight. Fair warning, I might be nervous for the first time in years, asterisk. The vulnerability in that message should have made me feel guilty. Instead, it fueled my determination. Marcus nervous? The same man who'd gasped Rebecca's name during sex with me, then claimed it was a slip of the tongue when I confronted him? He deserved everything that was coming. But sitting in my kitchen at 11 a.m., staring at my reflection in my laptop screen, I realized my original plan had a fatal flaw. I couldn't just not show up again, Marcus would get suspicious after 2 failed meetings. And I definitely couldn't show up as myself. Which left me with option 3, the one that made my palms sweat just thinking about it. I needed a real Jessica. I called my college roommate, Diana, who lived 40 minutes away in Westfield. We'd stayed close over the years, and she was one of the few people who knew the full ugly truth about my divorce. More importantly, Diana was an aspiring actress who'd done background work on 3 indie films and performed in community theater productions across the state. "You want me to catfish your ex-husband," she said slowly after I'd explained the situation. "At a fancy restaurant. While pretending to be someone from your high school." "I want you to expose him," I corrected, pacing my tiny living room. "Diana, this man created a fake dating profile using my wedding photos. He's getting dozens of men to harass me, and I might lose my teaching job. The dating site won't remove it because he somehow convinced them he's me. This is my only shot at making him face consequences. What exactly do you want me to do? Show up, tell him I'm not Jessica, and then what? I've been thinking about this all morning. You show up, you're charming for exactly 30 minutes, and then you excuse yourself to the bathroom. While you're gone, I'll approach the table. He'll be confused, probably angry, but he'll be trapped in a public place where he can't make a scene. I'll tell him that Jessica was hired by someone who's tired of his games, and that his fake profile of me gets deleted tonight, where everyone, Rebecca, his boss, his family, gets screenshots of his dating app conversations." Diana was quiet for a long moment. "That's actually kind of genius. And completely insane. Sarah, what if this backfires? What if he calls the police? For what? He's the one who committed identity theft by creating a profile in my name. He's the one cheating on Rebecca by actively trying to meet other women. I'm just giving him a taste of his own medicine." At 2 p.m., Diana arrived at my apartment with a duffel bag full of clothes and makeup. "I've been thinking about this character," she said, pulling out a blonde wig that looked remarkably similar to the photos I'd stolen from the real Jessica's Facebook. "Confident but not cocky. Interested but not desperate. I can do this for 30 minutes, easy." We spent 3 hours transforming her into Jessica Chen, complete with the backstory I'd been building for a week. Marketing consultant, loves hiking, recently moved back to the area from Denver. Diana practiced Jessica's voice, slightly higher than her natural tone, with a hint of breathiness that men like Marcus always found irresistible. At 6:15 p.m., I was positioned in my car across from the Riverside room, watching Diana walk through the front doors in a black cocktail dress and heels that made her 3 inches taller. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone steady as Marcus texted Jessica his final message, *walking in now. Can't wait to see that beautiful smile in person, *. Through the restaurant's windows, I watched my ex-husband stand up from his table, straightening his tie with nervous energy as Diana approached. Even from 50 feet away, I could see his face light up with genuine joy. In 30 minutes, I would walk through those same doors and destroy him. The countdown had begun. At 6:47 p.m., my phone rang. Diana's number. My heart stopped. She wasn't supposed to call me. The plan was simple, 30 minutes of conversation, excuse herself to the bathroom, then I'd make my entrance. She'd been in there for exactly 32 minutes. "Diana? What's wrong?" "Sarah." Her voice was barely a whisper, and I could hear restaurant noise in the background. "We have a problem. A big fucking problem." "What do you mean? Did he recognize you? Did something?" "Rebecca's here." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "Rebecca is here. At the restaurant. She just walked in 5 minutes ago, and Marcus went white as a sheet when he saw her. Sarah, she's walking over to our table right now." I pressed the phone harder against my ear, my other hand gripping the steering wheel. Okay, just stay calm." "What's Marcus doing?" "He's panicking. He told me to play along and then he stood up and kissed Rebecca like nothing was wrong. Sarah, he just introduced me as his cousin visiting from out of town." "His cousin?" I almost laughed at the absurdity. "Diana, get out of there. Just leave." "I can't." Rebecca sat down and ordered wine. "She's telling me about their weekend plans to visit his parents. Marcus keeps shooting me these desperate looks like I'm going to blow up his whole life." Diana paused, and I heard muffled conversation in the background. Oh God, she's asking me questions about Marcus's family. Details I don't know. This was spiraling out of control. My carefully orchestrated plan was disintegrating in real time, and Diana was trapped at a table with my ex-husband and his girlfriend, pretending to be family she'd never met. "Tell them you're not feeling well," I said, starting my car. "Food poisoning, migraine, anything. Just get out of there and I'll pick you up." "Wait." Diana's voice changed, becoming sharper. "Sarah, you need to hear this. Rebecca just said something about Marcus's online hobbies and how she wishes he'd stop messing with his ex-wife's head because it's getting pathetic." My blood turned to ice. "She knows?" "She knows about the fake dating profile. She just told me, thinking I'm his cousin, that Marcus has been playing games with you for months and she's getting tired of it. Sarah, she's not some innocent victim. She's been encouraging this." The revelation hit me like a truck. All this time, I'd assumed Rebecca was oblivious to Marcus's harassment campaign. I'd almost felt sorry for her, thinking she was just another woman who'd eventually get her heart broken by his lies. But she knew. She knew he'd stolen my photos, knew he was sabotaging my attempts to move on, and she thought it was justified. "Diana, I need you to keep listening. Find out what else she knows." "Are you insane? I'm one wrong answer away from being exposed here. Rebecca's asking me about Marcus's sister's kids, and I have no idea if he even has a sister." Through the restaurant window, I could see the 3 of them at the corner table. Marcus looked like he was going to vomit. Diana, Jessica, was nodding along to whatever Rebecca was saying, but her posture screamed tension. And Rebecca looked completely relaxed, gesturing with her wine glass as she spoke. My phone buzzed with a text to my real number. Another message on the fake dating profile, *K Sarah. Saw your profile and had to reach out. You're exactly what I'm looking for in a married woman looking to cheat, *. Rebecca and Marcus weren't just dating. They were partners in psychological warfare. And they had no idea that their victim was sitting 50 feet away, planning their complete destruction. "I'm going in," I told Diana, my hand already on the car door handle. "Sarah, no. You'll blow everything." I hung up and crossed the street before I could lose my nerve. Through the window, I could see Rebecca gesturing animatedly while Marcus sat rigid as a statue. Diana was nodding along, but I caught the moment she spotted me approaching the entrance. Her eyes widened in panic. The hostess smiled as I walked in. Do you have a reservation? I'm meeting someone, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Table 12. I walked straight to their corner table, my heels clicking against the hardwood floor like a countdown. Marcus saw me first, his face went from pale to gray in the space of a heartbeat. Rebecca turned to see what had captured his attention, and her expression shifted from confusion to something that looked almost like excitement. Sarah. Rebecca's voice was bright, theatrical. What a surprise. Marcus, you didn't tell me your ex-wife would be joining us. Diana, still playing Jessica, looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Marcus opened and closed his mouth like a fish, no words coming out. Rebecca. I pulled out the fourth chair at their table and sat down uninvited. How lovely to see you. And Marcus. I turned to my ex-husband with a smile that could have cut glass. Funny running into you here. Didn't you tell me you were done with this restaurant after our divorce? Sarah, what are you? How did you? Marcus finally found his voice, but it came out as a strangled whisper. Oh, I'm here with a friend. I gestured to Diana, who was staring at me in horror. Diana, meet my ex-husband Marcus and his girlfriend Rebecca. We were just discussing Marcus's interesting hobbies. Rebecca's eyes lit up with malicious glee. Were you now? Jessica here was just telling us about her marketing job. Such a small world, she's Marcus's cousin from Denver. Denver? I raised an eyebrow. How fascinating. I could have sworn Marcus told me all his cousins lived in Ohio. I turned to Diana with mock concern. You must be from the other side of the family. The side he never talks about. Marcus was sweating now, actual beads of perspiration forming on his forehead. Sarah, I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. Oh, there's been a misunderstanding, all right. I pulled out my phone and opened the fake dating profile he created. 47 new messages since this morning, Marcus. 47 men who think I'm a cheating wife looking for affairs. The profile you created using my wedding photos. Rebecca's smile faltered for the first time. What? You mean he didn't tell you? I showed her the phone screen, watching her face change as she read the bio Marcus had written. This is what your boyfriend does in his spare time. Identity theft, harassment, cyberstalking. Very attractive qualities in a partner. Marcus? Rebecca's voice was sharp now. What is this? Diana chose that moment to stand up abruptly. I should go. This seems like a family matter. Sit down, Jessica, I said firmly. Or should I call you Diana? My college roommate who's been helping me expose my ex-husband's dating app activities? The silence at our table was deafening. Other diners were starting to notice the tension. I caught a woman at the next table leaning closer to listen. Marcus finally found his voice. You set me up. You fucking set me up. I gave you exactly what you gave me, I replied calmly. A fake relationship with someone who doesn't exist. The only difference is, I didn't steal your identity to do it. Rebecca was scrolling through the fake profile now, her face growing redder with each swipe. Marcus, there are dozens of conversations here. You've been talking to women for weeks. It's not what you think. Really? Because this message from yesterday says you can't wait to explore new adventures with someone who understands what I need. Rebecca's voice was getting louder, and I saw the manager starting to look in our direction. Diana caught my eye and mouthed, we should go. But I wasn't finished. Not yet. Here's what's going to happen, I said, pulling out a printed screenshot of Marcus's conversation with Jessica. This profile of me gets deleted tonight. All of it. Or Rebecca gets to see every single message you've sent to every woman on that app. Your boss gets them too. And your mother. Marcus stared at me with pure hatred. You vindictive bitch. I learned from the best, I replied, standing up. Diana, shall we go finish our dinner somewhere else? As we walked away, I heard Rebecca's voice rising behind us. Marcus, who the fuck is Hottie Hottie 2024? The parking lot confrontation happened exactly 7 minutes after we left the restaurant. I was walking Diana to her car, both of us still buzzing with adrenaline, when Marcus came barreling through the front doors like a man possessed. Sarah. His voice echoed across the asphalt, causing other diners to stop and stare. You think this is over? You think you can just humiliate me and walk away? Diana grabbed my arm. Get in the car. Now. But I turned to face him, surprised by how calm I felt. Where's Rebecca? Did she leave you sitting there with a check? Marcus's face was flushed red, his perfect hair disheveled from running his hands through it. You have no idea what you've just done. Rebecca thinks I've been cheating on her for months. Haven't you? I crossed my arms. Because those dating app conversations seemed pretty real to me. That's different and you know it. Those women don't matter. They're not real relationships. The casual dismissal in his voice made my stomach turn. Those women didn't matter. Just like I hadn't mattered when he was texting Rebecca during our anniversary dinner. Just like my feelings hadn't mattered when he moved her into our house 2 weeks after our divorce was finalized. Marcus. My voice was deadly quiet. The profile. Delete it. Tonight. Or what? You'll keep playing dress up with your little friend here? He gestured dismissively at Diana, who bristled. Or I'll post every screenshot I took of your Jessica conversations on your company's Facebook page, I said. Along with an explanation of how you stole your ex-wife's identity to create a fake dating profile. I wonder what Pinnacle Software's HR department will think about that. His face went white. You wouldn't. Try me. I pulled out my real phone and showed him the draft post I'd prepared earlier, complete with screenshots and his full name tagged. I've got nothing left to lose, Marcus. You made sure of that when you decided to destroy my reputation for sport. Diana tugged on my sleeve. Sarah, we really need to go. He's starting to look unhinged. She was right. Marcus was pacing now, muttering under his breath, his hands clenched into fists. This was a side of him I'd only seen once before, the night I'd confronted him about Rebecca the final time, when he'd put his fist through our bedroom wall and screamed that I was fucking crazy for not believing his lies. You know what? Marcus stopped pacing and fixed me with a look of pure malice. Fine. I'll delete the profile. But this isn't over, Sarah. Not even close. What's that supposed to mean? It means you just declared war on the wrong person. He pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. There. Happy? Your precious fake profile is gone. But you cost me Rebecca tonight, and I don't forgive that kind of betrayal. My phone buzzed, a notification that the Love Connection profile had been deactivated. After 6 days of hell, 47 harassment messages, and nearly losing my job, it was finally gone. But Marcus's threat hung in the air like smoke. He wasn't done with me. If anything, I'd just escalated a situation that was already spiraling out of control. Marcus, I said as he turned to walk away. If you try anything else, anything at all, I will destroy you. Completely. I'm not the same person you married. I'm not going to be your victim anymore. He paused at his car door, looking back at me with something that might have been respect. Or hatred. With Marcus, it was hard to tell the difference. We'll see about that, he said, and drove away into the night. Diana was already calling Emma as we sat in her car. We need backup, she said. This psychopath isn't going to just give up. She was right. The profile was gone, but the real war was just beginning. 3 days later, I was in the middle of teaching my second grade class about fractions when Mrs. Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. Ms. Parker, please report to the main office immediately. 22 pairs of 7-year-old eyes turned to stare at me. My stomach dropped. In 5 years of teaching at Roosevelt Elementary, I'd never been called to the office during class time unless it was an emergency. Keep working on your worksheets, I told my students, trying to keep my voice steady. Mrs. Martinez will be right in. The walk down the hallway felt endless. Through the office windows, I could see Mrs. Chen sitting behind her desk with a grim expression, and beside her sat a woman in a navy blazer I didn't recognize. My mouth went dry. Sarah, please sit down. Mrs. Chen gestured to the chair across from her desk. This is Patricia Williams from the district's Human Resources Department. We need to discuss some concerning allegations that have been brought to our attention. The HR woman opened a manila folder and pulled out several printed pages. Even upside down, I could see they were screenshots. My heart hammered against my ribs. We received an anonymous email this morning containing evidence that suggests you've been engaging in inappropriate online behavior, Patricia Williams said, her voice professionally neutral. Specifically, that you've been using dating applications to catfish individuals while misrepresenting yourself as other people. She slid the papers across the desk. They were screenshots of my conversations with Marcus as Jessica, but they'd been carefully edited. All context had been removed, just isolated messages showing me pretending to be someone else, talking about meeting men, discussing fake family emergencies. Without the full story, it looked exactly like what they were accusing me of, a teacher engaging in deceptive online behavior. This isn't what it looks like, I said, my voice cracking. These messages were taken completely out of context. I was trying to expose my ex-husband for creating a fake dating profile using my photos. Ms. Parker, Mrs. Chen interrupted, we also received this. She handed me another printout, a detailed email explaining how I had manipulated an innocent man by creating a false identity, how I had orchestrated elaborate deceptions involving fake family emergencies, and how I had enlisted accomplices to help me psychologically torment someone who was just trying to move on from their marriage. The email was signed A Concerned Citizen, but I knew exactly who had written it. Marcus's writing style was unmistakable, even when he was trying to disguise it. Furthermore, Patricia Williams continued, we've been made aware that you called in sick on Friday under false pretenses in order to engage in this deceptive behavior. Is that accurate? I stared at the papers, my hands shaking. Marcus had turned everything around, made himself the victim and me the aggressor. The screenshots made it look like I was some unhinged stalker who had randomly targeted an innocent divorced man. I was being harassed, I said desperately. My ex-husband created a fake dating profile using my wedding photos. I have dozens of messages from men who thought I was married and looking for affairs. I almost lost my job because of it. Do you have evidence of this alleged fake profile? Patricia asked. It was deleted Saturday night, but I have screenshots. I fumbled for my phone, then stopped. All my screenshots showed the profile after I'd already matched with Marcus. They showed my messages as Jessica. Without the original harassment messages, which had stopped coming after the profile was deleted, I had no way to prove that Marcus had started this war. Ms. Parker, Mrs. Chen said gently, I've known you for 5 years. This doesn't sound like the teacher I hired. But these allegations are serious. Parents trust us with their children, and any behavior that suggests deception or manipulation reflects poorly on our entire district. I understand that, but we're going to need you to take administrative leave while we investigate this matter, Patricia Williams said, closing her folder. Effective immediately. You'll be contacted within the next week about next steps. Administrative leave. The words echoed in my head as I walked back to my classroom in a daze. 22 second graders who were counting on me to teach them about fractions and spelling and how to be good humans. All of it suspended because Marcus had weaponized my own plan against me. I packed my personal items into a cardboard box while Mrs. Martinez supervised my class, avoiding the curious stares of other teachers in the hallway. By 3:15 p.m., I was sitting in my car in the school parking lot, unemployed and facing the real possibility that my teaching career was over. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Asterisk, how does it feel to lose everything? This is just the beginning. A concerned citizen asterisk. Marcus had won this round. But as I sat there clutching my box of classroom supplies, I realized something that should have terrified me but instead filled me with cold determination. I had absolutely nothing left to lose. The unemployment office at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday was exactly as soul-crushing as I'd imagined. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead while I sat in a plastic chair, surrounded by people who looked as defeated as I felt. 3 days had passed since my administrative leave began, and my savings account showed $847.32, enough for maybe 1 month of rent if I ate nothing but ramen. My caseworker, a tired-looking woman named Janet, reviewed my file with the enthusiasm of someone reading a grocery list. Says here you're a teacher. What happened? Workplace investigation, I said, the half-truth tasting bitter in my mouth. How do you explain that your vindictive ex-husband had orchestrated your professional downfall using screenshots of your own revenge plot? Janet stamped my paperwork without looking up. You'll receive your first payment in 2 weeks, assuming you meet all the job search requirements. Next. I was walking to my car when my phone rang. Emma's number. Sarah, thank God. I've been trying to reach you all morning. We have a problem. My stomach clenched. What now? I just got off the phone with my landlord. Someone called him yesterday claiming to be from a tenant verification service, asking detailed questions about my rental history, my income, whether I have any problematic associates. Her voice was shaking. Sarah, they specifically asked about you. By name. I stopped walking, keys frozen halfway to my car door. Marcus. It gets worse. My boss got a similar call this morning. Someone asking about my reliability and whether I associate with people who engage in fraudulent online activities. I think Marcus is trying to destroy my life too, just for helping you. The parking lot seemed to tilt sideways. It was one thing for Marcus to target me, I declared war on him first. But Emma had only provided emotional support and a place to plan. Diana had spent exactly 2 hours helping me, and now Emma was facing consequences for simply being my sister. Emma, I'm so sorry. I never thought he'd go after you. That's not why I'm calling. Her voice turned sharp, determined. I'm calling because I did some digging of my own. Remember how you said Marcus somehow convinced the dating site that he was you? That he provided valid verification? Yeah, but the profile's deleted now. Sarah, listen to me. I have a friend who works in cybersecurity. She ran some checks on that email address Marcus used to create your fake profile. It's connected to at least 6 other accounts across different platforms. Dating sites, social media, even a fake LinkedIn profile. I fumbled with my car door, nearly dropping my phone. What are you saying? I'm saying Marcus isn't just harassing you. This is what he does. There are other women, Sarah. At least 3 others that we can identify. He's been creating fake profiles using real women's photos for over a year. The revelation hit me like ice water. Marcus wasn't just a bitter ex-husband lashing out, he was a serial predator who had weaponized social media to systematically destroy women's lives. One of them is a teacher in Springfield, Emma continued. Posted on a support forum about losing her job after someone created fake dating profiles using her photos. Another one is a nurse who's been getting harassed for months. Sarah, there's a pattern here. I sat in my car, staring at the unemployment office building, pieces of a much larger puzzle clicking into place. The sophisticated way Marcus had convinced the dating site he was me. His immediate, practiced response when I'd confronted him. The calm certainty in his voice when he threatened that this wasn't over. We need to contact these women, I said, starting my car. If Marcus has done this before. I already reached out to 2 of them. They want to meet. Today. Sarah, I think we can stop him. All of us together. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than helpless rage. Marcus thought he was hunting isolated victims, women too ashamed or afraid to fight back. He had no idea he'd just created his own army. The coffee shop where we agreed to meet was neutral territory, a Starbucks in Millfield, 20 minutes from my apartment and far enough from Marcus's usual haunts that we wouldn't accidentally run into him. I arrived 15 minutes early, claiming a corner table with a clear view of the entrance, my laptop bag clutched against my chest like armor. Emma walked in first at 2:47 p.m., followed by 2 women I'd only seen in Facebook profile pictures. Lisa Chen, not related to my principal, just an unfortunate coincidence, was the teacher from Springfield. Petite, Asian American, with the kind of tired eyes that came from months of fighting bureaucratic battles. Behind her walked Jennifer Walsh, the nurse Emma had mentioned, a redhead in scrubs who looked like she'd come straight from a 12-hour shift. Sarah? Lisa's voice was tentative as they approached my table. I'm Lisa. We spoke on the phone. We did the awkward dance of strangers united by trauma, handshakes, nervous smiles, the careful sizing up of fellow survivors. I bought a round of drinks to give my hands something to do, but my vanilla latte sat untouched as we settled into chairs that suddenly felt too small for the weight of what we were about to discuss. So, Jennifer said, pulling out a manila folder thick with printouts, Emma says you think my harassment is connected to your ex-husband. Marcus Hoffman, right? Hearing his full name spoken by a stranger made my skin crawl. You know his name? I know everything about him. Jennifer's smile was sharp as broken glass. After 6 months of getting messages from men who think I'm a cheating wife, I hired a private investigator. Cost me $1,200 I didn't have, but it was worth every penny. She spread photographs across our table, surveillance shots of Marcus entering and leaving his apartment, sitting at coffee shops with his laptop, even one of him at the gym. But it was the printed emails that made my blood run cold. Marcus has been running this operation like a business, Jennifer continued. He targets recently divorced women, specifically those in professional careers where reputation matters. Teachers, nurses, social workers, therapists. He finds women who've posted about their divorces on social media, then systematically destroys their credibility. Lisa leaned forward, her coffee forgotten. How many women? At least 8 that we can confirm. Probably more. Jennifer flipped through pages of documentation that represented months of investigation. He uses the same playbook every time. Steals photos from social media, creates dating profiles that make the women look like cheaters, uses their real contact information. When they try to fight back, he documents their responses and reports them to their employers as evidence of unhinged behavior. My hands were shaking. He did this to 8 women? Sarah, your case is actually the most sophisticated I've seen, Jennifer said. Usually he just creates the fake profile and lets the harassment run its course. But with you, he's escalated to direct workplace sabotage, manipulating your own actions against you. That tells me you got closer to exposing him than anyone else has. Emma spread out her own research, screenshots of forum posts from women describing eerily similar harassment patterns, all dating back over 18 months. The private investigator Jennifer hired? She found a connection to Marcus in every single case. Same IP addresses, same photo editing software, even the same grammatical quirks in the fake profiles. Lisa pulled out her phone and showed us a recording app. I've been documenting everything since this started. Phone calls, weird encounters, even the meeting where I lost my job. It's all here. We have enough evidence to bury him, Jennifer said, closing her folder. But here's the problem, most of these women are too afraid to come forward. They've already lost jobs, relationships, their sense of safety. They just wanted to stop. I stared at the photographs of Marcus, this man I'd shared a bed with for 3 years, realizing I'd never known him at all. So what do? We give him exactly what he's been giving us, Jennifer said. Public humiliation, professional consequences, and the complete destruction of his credibility. Emma grinned. I was hoping you'd say that. But this time, Lisa added, we do it legally. With evidence. With witnesses. Jennifer slid a business card across the table. My PI has connections with a cybercrime unit detective. Detective Rodriguez has been building a case about online harassment for months. She's very interested in meeting Marcus Hoffman. The card felt warm in my hand. For the first time since this nightmare began, I wasn't fighting alone. When do we start? I asked. We already have, Jennifer replied. Detective Maria Rodriguez had the kind of steady presence that made you want to confess everything, both your crimes and your fears. She sat across from me in the sterile conference room at the Millfield Police Department, reviewing Jennifer's folder with the methodical attention of someone who'd seen every variation of human cruelty. 8 confirmed victims, she said, making notes in precise handwriting. Probably more who haven't come forward. Mr. Hoffman has been busy. It was Thursday afternoon, exactly 1 week since my administrative leave began. Jennifer, Lisa, Emma, and I sat around the metal table like some twisted support group, our individual horror stories now woven into a comprehensive case file that painted Marcus as something far more dangerous than a bitter ex-husband. The challenge, Detective Rodriguez continued, is that online harassment cases are notoriously difficult to prosecute. Even with your evidence, defense attorneys love to argue that creating fake dating profiles is just pranking or poor judgment, not criminal behavior. My heart sank. So he gets away with it? I didn't say that. She pulled out a different folder, this one stamped with official police department logos. What Mr. Hoffman doesn't know is that we've been tracking a pattern of identity theft complaints that match his methods exactly. The Springfield Police Department has an open case. Boston PD has 2 more. When Jennifer's private investigator contacted us last month, we started connecting dots. Lisa leaned forward eagerly. What kind of dots? Credit fraud, for starters. 3 of his victims had unauthorized accounts opened in their names, small amounts, probably just to test stolen personal information. Then there's the workplace harassment, which becomes criminal intimidation when it crosses state lines. Detective Rodriguez smiled grimly. Your ex-husband made a mistake when he went after Jennifer in Massachusetts and you in different counties, Sarah. Federal prosecutors love interstate harassment cases. Emma pulled out her phone. There's something else. Marcus posted this on his Instagram 2 hours ago. She showed us a photo of Marcus at some upscale bar, raising a craft beer toward the camera. The caption made my blood boil, *, sometimes you have to teach people lessons they'll never forget. Karma's a beautiful thing. #moving forward, #new chapter, #toxic free *. He thinks he's won, I whispered. Good, Detective Rodriguez said. Overconfident criminals make stupid mistakes. Jennifer, your PI documented him at Riverside Park last Saturday, correct? Same time he posts his weekly basketball photos? Jennifer nodded. Every Saturday at 9 a.m., like clockwork. He's incredibly predictable. Perfect. Detective Rodriguez closed her files and stood up. Ladies, I need you to go home and act completely normal. Don't contact Marcus, don't post anything on social media about this meeting, don't change your routines. As far as he knows, his plan worked perfectly. What happens next? I asked. Next, we let Mr. Hoffman think he's untouchable for exactly 48 more hours. Meanwhile, federal agents will be reviewing his digital footprint, his financial records, and his communication patterns. We're also coordinating with his employer. Pinnacle Software has been very cooperative once we explained the liability issues of having an employee who commits identity theft. My phone buzzed with another text from that unknown number, *, hope you're enjoying unemployment. Maybe next time you'll think twice before messing with the wrong person, *. I showed the message to Detective Rodriguez, who photographed it with her own phone. Marcus just made this a federal case, she said with satisfaction. Threatening communication across state lines. The FBI Cybercrime Division is going to love this. As we walked out of the police station, Emma grabbed my arm. Sarah, it's really happening. He's going down. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Marcus had one more move to make. And knowing him, it would be the most vicious one yet. Saturday morning at 8:47 a.m., I was making coffee when my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw a woman I didn't recognize, mid-30s, professional clothes, holding an envelope. Sarah Parker? I'm Amanda Cruz from Channel 8 News. I'd like to ask you a few questions about the allegations regarding your online harassment of local software engineer Marcus Hoffman. My coffee mug slipped from my hands, shattering against the kitchen floor. The hot liquid splattered across my bare feet, but I barely felt it. Marcus had contacted the media. I have no comment, I called through the door, my voice barely steady. Ms. Parker, we have documentation showing you created false identities to manipulate and deceive Mr. Hoffman. Would you like to respond to his claims that you're a dangerous individual who shouldn't be around children? The words hit like physical blows. I pressed my back against the door, sliding down until I was sitting on the floor among the coffee and ceramic shards. Marcus wasn't just trying to destroy my career anymore, he was going nuclear, painting me as a threat to children. If this story aired, it wouldn't matter if the charges against him eventually stuck. My reputation would be obliterated beyond repair. I crawled to the window and peered through the blinds. The Channel 8 News van was parked across the street, and I could see Amanda Cruz talking on her phone while cameramen adjusted his equipment. My neighbors were starting to notice. Mrs. Patterson from 4B was standing in her doorway, arms crossed, watching the spectacle with obvious disapproval. My phone rang. Emma's number. Sarah, don't go outside. I just saw the Channel 8 website, they're running a story about you at noon. The headline is Local Teacher Under Investigation for Online Stalking. He's really doing this, I whispered, still crouched by the window. Emma, if this airs, I'll never teach again. Anywhere. Detective Rodriguez is handling it. She called me 20 minutes ago. Apparently Marcus violated his agreement to stay quiet pending the investigation. Going to the media just escalated this to witness intimidation. Another knock at the door, more insistent this time. Ms. Parker, we also have statements from parents at Roosevelt Elementary expressing concern about your fitness to teach their children. Don't you think you owe the community an explanation? That was the moment something inside me snapped. I stood up, marched to the door, and yanked it open. Amanda Cruz took a step back, clearly startled by my appearance. I was still in pajamas, barefoot, with coffee stains on my shirt and probably looking exactly as unhinged as Marcus wanted me to look. You want a statement? I said, staring directly into the camera. Marcus Hoffman is a serial predator who has systematically destroyed the lives of at least 8 women over the past 18 months. He steals photos from divorced women's social media accounts, creates fake dating profiles to make them look like cheaters, then documents their attempts to defend themselves as evidence of mental instability. Amanda Cruz's eyes lit up. This was much better television than a simple denial. Do you have proof of these allegations, Ms. Parker? I have a folder full of evidence that's currently with the FBI's Cybercrime Division. Marcus Hoffman is under federal investigation for identity theft, interstate harassment, and criminal intimidation. But sure, let's talk about which one of us is dangerous to children. The cameraman was still rolling, capturing every word. Good. Let Marcus see this. Let him realize that going public was about to backfire spectacularly. Furthermore, I continued, my voice growing stronger, any parent concerned about their child's safety should be asking why the local news is taking the word of a man under federal investigation without bothering to fact-check his claims. Amanda Cruz opened her mouth to ask another question, but I was already closing the door. Through the window, I watched her have an animated phone conversation, probably with her producer. My phone buzzed with a text from Detective Rodriguez. Asterisk saw the news van. Perfect timing. Arrest warrant approved. Moving in now, asterisk. Across town, Marcus was about to learn that declaring war on 8 women simultaneously was the biggest mistake of his life. The call came at 2:17 p.m. while I was scrubbing coffee stains out of my kitchen floor. Detective Rodriguez's voice was professionally calm, but I could hear the satisfaction underneath. Marcus Hoffman was arrested 43 minutes ago at Riverside Park. Federal agents, local police, and a very surprised group of his basketball buddies watched him get cuffed right in the middle of his jump shot. I sank into my kitchen chair, suddenly dizzy with relief. It's really over? The arrest is just the beginning. We executed a search warrant on his apartment simultaneously, found external hard drives containing photos and personal information for over 30 women, detailed spreadsheets tracking his harassment campaigns, and chat logs where he bragged to online friends about teaching bitches lessons they'll never forget. Her voice hardened. Sarah, he kept trophies. Screenshots of women crying on phone calls, termination letters, even suicide notes from 2 victims who reached that breaking point. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Suicide notes? Both women are alive, thank God. But Marcus saved their darkest moments like prizes. The federal prosecutor called it one of the most premeditated harassment campaigns she's ever seen. Through my window, I watched the Channel 8 news van pull away. Amanda Cruz had gotten her story, but it wasn't the one Marcus had planned. By 3 p.m., every local station was running footage of his arrest, complete with federal agents carrying boxes of evidence out of his apartment. The irony wasn't lost on me. Marcus, who'd lived his entire life through social media, was about to become infamous for all the wrong reasons. Jennifer called at 4:45 p.m., her voice bright for the first time since I'd met her. Did you see his LinkedIn profile? Pinnacle Software terminated him immediately. Posted a company-wide statement about not tolerating employees who engage in criminal behavior. Emma arrived an hour later with Chinese takeout and a bottle of champagne. Lisa got her job back, she announced, setting containers across my coffee table. The school board reviewed her case this afternoon and issued a formal apology. Apparently, having FBI evidence that she was the victim of a federal crime changed their perspective pretty quickly. We ate lo mein and watched the 6 o'clock news, where Marcus's booking photo filled the screen beside a reporter explaining charges of identity theft, cyberstalking, criminal intimidation, and interstate harassment. The anchor mentioned that prosecutors expected additional charges as more victims came forward. The defendant allegedly targeted recently divorced professional women, the reporter continued, using sophisticated techniques to steal their identities and create elaborate harassment campaigns designed to destroy their careers and reputations. My phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Chen. Asterisk Sarah, please call me first thing Monday morning. The district has completed our review and we'd like to discuss your immediate return to classroom duties. Asterisk. At 8:23 p.m., Rebecca posted on Facebook. Asterisk sometimes you discover the person you thought you loved is actually a monster. Thank you to everyone who tried to warn me. I should have listened sooner. Asterisk. The comments were brutal, friends and family members expressing shock, offering support, sharing their own suspicions about Marcus that they'd kept quiet. One comment from his own sister stood out. Asterisk I told mom years ago that something was wrong with him. No one wanted to believe it. Asterisk. Detective Rodriguez called one final time at 9:15 p.m. Marcus made bail, but he's under strict electronic monitoring and a no-contact order covering all his victims. One text message, one social media post, even one indirect communication and he goes back to jail pending trial. What's the sentence if he's convicted? Federal cyberstalking charges carry up to 5 years per victim. Identity theft adds another 2 years per count. We're looking at potentially 47 separate charges across 8 victims. She paused. Sarah, he's going away for a very long time. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen holding that business card Jennifer had given me, the one from her private investigator. Tomorrow I'd call about getting my own digital life secured. Next week I'd return to my classroom and face the awkward questions from colleagues and parents. But tonight, for the first time in months, I was going to sleep soundly. Marcus had taught me that I was stronger than I knew. And I taught him that karma isn't just beautiful, sometimes it comes with handcuffs.